Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a very high level best of 3. And for once I'm not alone, as I'm joined by the ever lovely Lambo. What's up, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Looking forward to watch my favorite Zerg play Ragnarok, see what he's up to. He's always up to no good, inventing new builds here and there, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. And as Lambo mentioned in the top left here of Neo Humanity, we have a Ragnarok spawning as the blue Zerg player. In the bottom right, we have another legendary player from South Korea. The man, the myth, the legend. It is Bunny, in the red colors here, who is not opening up with a CC first. The last time I watched him play was, I think, his series against Rainer, where he opened up with CC first and then went 2 base all-ins every single time. So I have bad memories of this guy playing, but I'm looking forward to this series.
You know, it's really funny. I had the Bunny in my group, and I prepared for him. And every single time he went CC first, he would always go 2 base all-in afterwards. And then I played against him in Katowice. He went CC first, so in my head I was like, okay, he's 2 base all-inning. And then at some point at the 6-minute mark, I forgot that I knew already he was 2 base all-inning. And I made like 70 drones at 5 bases.
And you died?
Yeah, I died. It's rough.
That's lovely to hear. Yeah. So sometimes you forget that you have the insider info already. It's like doing the insider trading and then being surprised again. Oh, the stock goes up.
I hate it when it happens, yeah.
Yeah. So it's always a little bit painful. Always a little bit painful. So far, Ragnarok just with a standard hatch first. Or, well, I'm not sure if that's standard for him. I've seen him proxy hatch quite a bit in the GSL in the past. So maybe this is a unique game for him. And Bunny opening up with a standard Reaper first over here, as well as an SCV scout, so playing it very safe. Now, what do you know about Bunny if he isn't playing CC first? Because you said if it's CC first, often it's going to be a 2 base all-in, but this is just a barracks first. So what is this?
Well, he has a lot of standard builds. On this map, he likes 3cc 2-1-1, and he likes 3cc Banshee. Those are the 2 main builds he's playing. But he just plays very standard in general, very aggressive in the early mid game. I actually didn't veto this map against him, in the hopes that he didn't know how to play it in Katowice, but I actually knew how to play it, so he stomped me on that map. That was map 3 we played. There's like a super strong tank push that you can do towards the bottom side of the map, where the Zerg 4th or 5th base is going to be. And yeah, he can abuse that quite
Right,
well.
you have that one tank location near the cooling tower, right?
Yeah, it's you cannot clear that tank. Like,
Yeah.
I've learned the hard way that you cannot expand there. I'm taking my 4th base now behind the gold minerals.
Right. Yeah, I think 3 or 4 links can attack that tank, and if you park a Hellion in front, it's like 0.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a powerful location. Yeah, we are going to be seeing a triple CC opener here out of Bunny indeed. We see the tech lab going down as well as the starport. He's patrolling the marine up top, as Ragnarok's Overlord is in the most common dead space, I think.
Yeah. This is not reachable with marines, so you can center it perfectly, and even if there's marines on both sides, it's safe. It's not like it is against stalkers.
Right, because if you have multiple stalkers for whatever reason in the early game, you technically could kill it given infinite time. And
even just one stalker running around trying to kill the Overlord is a little bit annoying. It forces multitasking. Here,
Right.
at least you don't have to do anything, and you can always check for the depot. So he probably already knows it's 3cc.
Yeah, that's nice as well. Cloak Banshee, it is going to be, as you said, often the case here with Bunny. A nice little queen split coming out of Ragnarok, making sure... This is one of the easier maps, right, where you can do this. It felt like it's so easy to defend Heli and harass here. Or am I wrong about that?
It is super easy. This map in general is super easy in the very early stages of the game, because once the Hellions are forced back behind like the center of the map, you have so long to prepare for where the Hellions are coming from, because they need to go all the way around. So it's a very nice map to get creep on into the center.
Yeah, I can imagine. Do you want to take out the cooling towers, by the way, here? Or is that not really a priority as a Zerg?
Well, it depends a little bit on what you want to do. If you want to slow down pushes, direct pushes, sure, but in general, it usually helps the Zerg a little bit more than the Terran, because it's a faster counterattack path. And if the towers are down and the Terran has the watchtower, it's impossible to counterattack, like completely. So usually you wanna keep it up unless you don't plan on counter-attacking and you just are afraid of a push that's coming. Maybe if you go roach, it can be fine to knock it down.
Gotcha. All right, we have the follow-up here. Pretty standard out of bunny. Couple extra barracks being thrown down. It's going to be double Banshees with Cloak as they move towards the top side of the map. Ragnarok actually lacking a little bit of Overlord coverage on the very top of the map. Could perhaps be consequential here. So far, he hasn't scouted these Banshees yet. Now he sees them, just barely the edge of vision. I'm not sure if he's responding to it. I don't think he is.
Yeah, he didn't see it. He did pre-morph 2 Overseers, but they're with the forward queen, so there isn't even a queen in natural. There's 3 queens in the main base. Natural isn't even injected right now. So that's going to be very annoying for Ragnarok to deal with. Already 4 drones going down, and now all the 3 queens are going to the natural, while the Banshees are going straight to the main for extra drone kills.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate here for Ragnarok. Not the tightest defense, to be honest. As the Stimpack is finishing up behind all of this as well. Hellions are being kind of calm. Would you have liked to see them do something, or is that just too risky with the amount of links that are already out?
I think you can do something, but it's so hard on this map. Like, there's nothing really he can do with the queen split from Ragnarok. Ragnarok is super on top of having his queens in the right position. So now they're Hellions are poking, but there's not much they can do without the Banshees. Not enough DPS. So you would rather preserve the HP of the Hellions against a counterattack, or maybe with a tank push.
Right, then you morph them into Hellbats, or just leave them as Hellions as is as well. Ragnarok did take the forward base that you despise so much, so perhaps not quite aware of the tank location, or perhaps he has a different little plan against it. As an armory is being thrown down here for Bunny, who seems to be keeping the first tank at home. Does follow up with more tanks. Is the tank push going to be delayed, or what's the play here?
Well, I think the strongest is if you go right away and then clear the creep, and then you can keep pushing there later on. Oh, he's actually not moving back the Hellions. Those were good Baneling connections. So Bunny not caring for his Hellions at all in this game. They didn't really do much for him, so he just threw them away here. Traded them out for a couple of Banelings. But yeah, I think the earlier you get there, the better, because once you have creep at the cooling tower, it's more difficult for Terran to knock them down and get into that position. So I would have liked for him to maybe keep the Hellions at home and bring the tank instead.
We're not going to be seeing Muras here, which I thought would be kind of popular on this map, as there is a rich Vespene geyser. Is it just not the case, or what's kicking off with that?
Yeah, it's just Ajax is too strong on this map. It's very popular as well in general, the tank pushes. They're so difficult to hold with Murai. You kind of need to try to predict how heavy the initial tank push is going to be, and then if it's very heavy, you kind of want to skip upgrades, but then if the other guy isn't fully committing to the push and you're skipping the upgrades, you're also in a bad position. So Murai just feels like a bad gamble, where if you take the right gamble, you have an even game on short maps, so it's not... Yeah, that doesn't sound that good to me.
This is roulette where half of the time you die and the other half you get your money back. It's a great game to play. Muta not quite it. Double drop is actually, oh, nice target fire there out of Bunny. He's gonna take out a couple of these Banelings here. While at the same time multitasking on the bottom side. Creep threat is pushing forward at a rapid pace. As we see Ragnarok actually, well, taking majority of the map right now, and also up in supply by 20. Didn't feel like Bunny had such terrible trades, but he's still down just 20-25 supply.
Yeah, it's because Ragnarok is gearing up for an attack though. He didn't start +2 carapace, he didn't start early hive. I think he just wants to bust the fourth base right now. He's basically doing a massling Bane all-in. Like, if this doesn't kill the fourth base, he's in a bad position because he's gonna trade pretty poorly for the rest of the game.
This is a fairly common thing to do in Korea, right? Oh, hold that thought, as we do actually have a big engagement here. Planetary in front is going to help out against the Banelings, but the Banelings are also going to help against the Planetary and the SCVs, as absolutely everything dies. Ragnarok takes out that fourth base. There's no backup command center here. A lot of the units of Bunny just idling in the natural. A bunch of mines were located near the third base as well, where a tank was set up. The third base was surely secure, but that fourth wasn't. And yeah, like I said, I think this is a fairly common thing to see in Korea, right? I think Dark played this a lot as well for a bit, like these 1-1 big Ling Bane floods. Delaying the tech, delaying the upgrades a little bit, just going for a big push.
Yeah, it can be super strong, but even if it takes down the fourth base, it doesn't mean that he's that far ahead now, because for the rest of the game, or for at least the next 5 minutes, Bunny is going to trade way better. And Ragnarok didn't drone up behind it. You can see Dark doing this and then making one big run of drones, or even before he attacks. And then he's on 90 drones, and then you can trade cost ineffectively. As long as you kill the fourth base, you're going to win. But in this game, I think Bunny is still very much so in it, because he now has all his barracks up with Marauder production, which helps a lot against the style. Basically,
Right.
Marauder mine is super effective against Lingbane.
Yeah, we see a little bit of the creep here disappearing as well. Oh, matter of fact, goes down there on the top side, just barely as the queen darts it down. Vehicle plating level 1 finishing up. Melee level 2 attack here finishing up as well at the same time. And we have the Hydralisk then being thrown down. 4GC is finishing up for Bunny. As it does seem like the game kind of stabilized with Bunny in an upgrade lead. Ragnarok perhaps a small eco lead. He still has a bit of a bank as well here. After all,
Bunny still didn't rally his extra barracks. Just now he realized he has like 8 Marauders in his main, and he also didn't rally the extra factory. So that was the main issue with the defense before. He didn't realize that though, even though he F2'd and all the units came to the front. It still wasn't rallied. Now he finally fixed it, so he should have a bigger portion of his army to defend this time around if Ragnarok decides to go for it again.
is Ragnarok gonna go for it again? He does seem to be setting up, but it seems like an odd play, no? I don't think you can still push into this. There's too many Marauders.
He wants to for sure because he's not teching up to Hive. If he wouldn't want to attack, he definitely would start a Hive and think about starting 3-3 very soon. Bunny is pre-split massively.
Holy
I don't
crap,
think
that mine.
I don't think you can do anything here as Ragnarok.
The mine has 31 kills, and I think that all came from one shot. It's pure Ling Bane. Actually, mainly Ling, I think. Medefacts are a little bit low on energy, though, so Bunny needs to be very careful with the next stim, because these Marines can't heal up fully anymore. Medevac count only at 4. How many have gone down this game? Only 2. He's only built 6 Medevacs in this entire game. That seems like a rather low amount, no?
Yeah, it's probably a macro error. I don't know, maybe he has the starport on the same hotkey as all of his factories, and that's why he didn't tap through it enough. I don't know. Either way, they're all out of energy, so every stim at this point kind of hurts him. As long as he's not attacking, though, I like his position a lot.
Yeah, we already have a Ghost Academy as well, so the possibility for Ghost is here. 3rd factory on the way too. We have more and more command centers being thrown in. The mine spread is good as well defensively, as another tank shows up here as well. Sensor tower, of course, helps so much on this map. There's really not that many angles to attack from. Although we do see Ragnarok once again trying to set up for something. He is getting an infestation pit behind this, but it is fairly late. And 3-3 is already finishing up here for Bunny. I think the era of Bunny is about to start in this game, as he's just going to be up 2 upgrades for the next legit 5 minutes.
I mean, Bunny's getting ghost right now. He thinks there's gonna be lurkers, but the Hive literally just started, so... yeah. If Bunny knew what we knew, I think he could even start trading. But Ragnarok is gonna do him the favor of actually attacking into him, so that should be even better trades off creep. Good splits here against the Banelings. The Hydra's also not really participating in the fight. Also no Hydra speed yet, so they have a harder time catching up with the Marines. Oh, the Marines also super low HP. He really needs to keep up the medevac production. He's still not producing medevacs. He has 6 now, but they're all out of energy.
Yeah, and those Marines are 1 Baneling hit away from all dying at the same time. Good activations there on the mines. Single Banelings being sent forward. These mines not quite as effective as Bunny would like them to be. Tank is helping out. Planetary is helping out, but a lot of SCVs are going to end up dying. Marines completely in the orange. Will survive for now. As Ragnarok moves back with the Hydralisk. Needs to be so careful. Without the speed, off creep. Didn't have range yet either. These were some ballsy attacks, and I don't quite think they work out here for Ragnarok.
Yeah, this was actually better than I thought it would go, because Bunny kind of force-fielded himself in there with an extra CC. I think if he lifted that, he could have gotten more Hydras. And just in general, it would have cleared up Ragnarok's army a little bit faster. But yeah, since Bunny already had the extra CCs, it won't even disrupt Bunny's economy all too much, losing that planetary there. He can simply just remake it. All that means is there's going to be 1 less orbital, which will matter in the long run. But honestly, if we take a look at the resources lost, if you are already up 10k resources, I mean, you're under no pressure to mine out your half of the map very fast, because you're in such a good way. Yeah,
if the ratio continues like this,
yeah.
Bunny could practically mine an entire base less and still be winning. It's not that bad, I guess. On this map, it's also pretty difficult for Ragnarok to take any of his opponent's bases.
It's basically impossible, yeah, on this map. This map is very heavy late game favored. Like super late game is super good for Terran because of the watchtowers especially. Oh, another good trade here for Bunny. Banelings off creep just not connecting, and Ragnarok keeps going for it. He's trying to trade because he has a high worker count, so you want to trade, but you can't do it like this off creep. You need to have a diversion or like an attack that distracts your opponent, and then you can try to catch him.
Lurker's already moving forward. Here comes a ghost. Is that going in for a nuke? I don't think there's nukes. No, there is a nuke available. This bad boy instead is just harassing while being cloaked, something you don't see every day.
Yeah, not the most effective against Zerg usually, because we have overseers, but maybe he just gave him a chance to,
To respond in time. Okay, here comes the nuke. And as it goes out, let's take a look at the first person here for Ragnarok. Ragnarok is looking around. Oh, I think he spotted the red dot. Very nice. One of my favorite minigames to play, as long as I'm the observer.
Yeah.
Not quite as fun if you're on the receiving end in a real game. As Ragnarok has a decent lurker count at this point. Double Spire coming in. I don't completely mind that. It does feel like Brute Lords are already the next step. You know, that step has already arrived here. Doesn't feel like lurkers can do much anymore with the current tank count, with the ghost count that we have. Do you want to add in some liberators here, or are you fine with just tank ghost?
I think just tank ghost is really good against lurkers. Adding a couple of liberators when the starport doesn't have anything else to do is always good, because it forces the Zerg to have some anti-air. So like getting 2 to 4 liberators against lurkers. But the mass liberator is mostly good against zoning out infestors. Later on against Brute Lord infestor.
Gotcha. Adaptive Talents finishing up here as we see another nuke coming down. Once again, Ragnarok spotting it quite rapidly. We'll take it out. We're really heading into that split map scenario that we mentioned before. And very passive Bunny here. I always felt like Bunny, even in the late game, was a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, he usually is. But I think he realized that he doesn't need to do anything. Because this map becomes much better later on. Like, attacking on this map is very hard. But denying the bases next to the watchtowers later on will become very easy. So I think he's playing it quite smart, actually.
Interesting. What's the next map base he's gonna take? Will it be the kind of the 6 o'clock base or more the 2 to 3 o'clock one? I feel like he's pushing more towards the right now.
Yeah, he's gonna take the one close to the right side of the map probably. I think taking the one next to the gold minerals is a little bit better, because then you can 100% deny any offensive base from Zerg. Like the way he's expanding right now, if Ragnarok already took the bottom base, I think he could already start mining from it, and it would be hard for Bunny to push there.
Right. Once again, Ragnarok moves forward. Vipers coming in with a couple of abducts, but Ghost with the snipes take out one of these Vipers. Ooh, sloppy control there on the Marines. Actually, Lurkers dealing way more damage than they should. Still will get pushed back though. So the first 4 Corruptors are on the way, but so are the Thors over here. So we have 2 Thors coming out, Hellbats coming out. +3 vehicle plating is about to finish up. Sadly for Bunny, not quite the +3 vehicle weapons. Of course, if you have +3 vehicle weapons as well as the Blue Flame, you are capable of one-shotting those links, which is a fantastic thing to be capable of doing.
It is a fantastic thing. Yeah, you can defend positions so cost effectively with just a couple of tanks, a couple of Widowmines, and a couple of Hellbats. It's basically impossible to break with a usual counterattack force, which is Lingbane as Zerg.
Yeah, do you start mixing in lurkers then in those late game counterattacks, or you just give up on run buying altogether?
I mean, if you still have the lurkers, using them for run buys is gonna be quite good, because they're not gonna help your actual army all too much. But I wouldn't make lurkers just to run them by, because they're so expensive.
Gotcha. First, 14 Brute Lords coming out right now. Did get scanned. So Thor production should increase from here on out. Smart servers as well about to finish up. Will help the Thor switching to their the mode in which they deal damage against Brute Lords. Marauder Marine Force. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He's max right now, so he can't produce extra Thors. It is just 4 Thors against 14 Brood Lords. Obviously, he still has the Ghost support, but the first thing he did was send a bunch of Bio to free up supply towards the left side of the map, which I think is a good call. And it's really, really scary to push off creep here with the Brood Lords if your ground army is on the other side of the map. So that's a very good move for Bunny, because yeah, he needed to free up some supply. Now he's starting a couple of extra Thors, but the Brood Lords, the detection wasn't ahead of the Brood Lords, so he could get a couple of tricky snipes in there. Yeah. And once again, I like Bunny's army a lot here. But I have seen Ragnarok actually play more and more late games against Terran, and this is probably the best map to do it on, because it's so choked. choked up that if you have many Thors, they won't always shoot at the same time against Broodlord Infestor. So this is probably the best map in the map pool for Broodlord Infestor. I've seen Zerg be the most successful on this one if they choose to go for Broodlords.
What is the theory nowadays? Because back in the day, you'd attack your own creep tumor and you send in the waves of broodlings again and again and again to right-click Thors. But after the reduction in broodling time, what is the play? Like, what is the winning move here for Zerg? You get fungals off on the Thors and then you kite with the broods and a couple of blinding clouds. Like just a lot of spellcaster usage, or
A lot of spellcaster usage, probably mass baning on the ground, and just hoping your opponent doesn't get a concave. Like if you get a funnel and the Thors are all bunched up, you can get a cost-effective trade. But usually, the play is to outmine your opponent and mine out the map first, then go to a very high army supply, and then try to take even engagements when you already mine more of the map. That's kind of the game plan. Because realistically, the best you're gonna do is trade evenly, because Broodlords are so expensive in comparison to the Terran Lategame army.
Ooh, nice drop here on the far left side. 13, 14 workers going down instantly. One lurker not really helping out. There's 3 more show up. We'll push this away. We're playing a bit of a wild goose chase here, as lurkers are trying to catch Medivacs. Lurkers not entirely well fitted to deal with those. They do not have any anti-air damage. Luckily, Vipers will come in with the parasitic bomb and take care of it. 18 drones have gone down. Of course, not the end of the world in a late game where there's usually plenty of larvae and plenty of minerals around. That's definitely the case here for Ragnarok, who's expanding at a painfully slow pace, by the way. Hasn't taken the 1 o'clock and hasn't taken the 7 o'clock yet either.
Yeah. No, Ragnarok's game plan is to just make a mass Broodlord army and win a fight somehow. Like a fungal blinding cloud combination and hopefully get neurals up while not getting EMP'd somehow. I think that's his game plan, to just at this point outplay his opponent during a fight. But one thing that is very, very common for this stage of the game is that the Terran actually is going to start floating a lot more. So you need to win a fight so decisively that you will beat the remix as well, which is the most difficult part. Usually you can win a fight if you max out on pure Broodlords, because your army is just... It's a little bit more supply efficient, the Broodlords than the Thors. But the remix is always the difficulty.
Also managed to pump a little bit more gas into there.
Yeah.
Army value right now is 7,800 gas for Ragnarok versus 4.3k for Bunny. And the mineral count is kind of similar as well. It's crazy how expensive this Zerg army actually is. So many Broodlords. 23 in here. Couple of lurkers, 4 infestors, 2 vipers. The queen's really the cheapest part of the army. As Broodlords now coming forward, practically one-shotting this planetary, which is pretty nutty. Not that many Thors here in position. There's 8 total. Are all of them here? Because 1 or 2 are spread out. Looks like such a small amount of Thors. It seems very scary here for Bunny.
Yeah, I think Bunny should sacrifice some SCVs, to be honest. Because he's already oversaturated on his freshest base. And he has a lot of orbitals, so I don't see the reason to still have 64 SCVs or 67 even at this point.
Yeah, loses 1 Thor for free here. It's gonna lose an orbital despite its ability to fly into the air where the Broodlords can't shoot it. Sometimes Terrans forget about that in the late game. When they have plenty of orbitals, they're like, eh. Floating is fun, but letting it die and burn down is also interesting. A couple of big fungals are hitting. Blinding Cloud also connects, but this is a nice concave for the Thors. I think this is the perfect concave for the Thors. Blinding Cloud will help out once more. A bunch of brutes are going to get targeted down here, though. Bunny taking a pretty decent fight here, no?
Yeah, it's a great concave. And you can see, even though it's way more Broodlords than Thors, they're just so effective. When all the Thors get to shoot, they just destroy Broodlords in a one-on-one. And that's why I said, like, you can't really hope to trade all too cost effectively. And if anything, you need to fight in a choke, because if the Thors all get to shoot, the fight is never going to look that good for you. And now Bunny is even further ahead in terms of bank, and he still has a lot of the map to mine. And I'd imagine even the top base at this point is going to be impossible for Ragnarok to take. If anyone, Bunny will take it, right?
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm not sure how secure the 7 o'clock is for Ragnarok here either. Like, it seems like that's an iffy base to keep. You have a couple of Hellions heading that way. Don't forget, I do believe they have the vehicle +3. Yeah, they do. So if this lurker wasn't here, these guys would turn into Hellbats, and half a Hellbat might die, and all the links would fall.
Yeah. He's also producing Liberators now. He has Liberators and tanks as anti-infestor, which is very, very good. Even without the upgrades, they're so good at zoning out the infestors. Ragnarok actually still pushing forward without a single infestor below his Broodlords, being very confident in his ability to adjust his army positioning and go back when Bunny's in position.
Yeah, a couple of drones are trying to saturate that bottom base right now. Bunny is scanning that top base like, nothing there, let me float something over. Sends a command center there. I think that might be a little bit ambitious at this point. As he's very focused right now on the middle base still. Wouldn't mind if he goes for a denial on the left rather than taking his own right side and spreading himself a little bit more thin. Still a big force of links, a couple of lurkers out, and I've seen sometimes Terrans when they expand too quickly and spread themselves too thin that they can start falling apart. So I really do wish that Bunny would stay a little bit more compact here.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he doesn't defend the base, I like the move because he has 11,000 minerals in the bank, so losing SCC is pretty much irrelevant for him. But if the planetary goes up there, he can use it as a... Like, he basically forces Ragnarok to put parts of his army there. But what you said is actually coming true, and now the Zerglings are here, and the planetary was quite exposed. If there were like any banelings there, he could have busted the planetary here as well.
Yeah, the right side, the 3 o'clock as well, or the 2 o'clock. Yeah, would have been dangerous. Ooh, Bunny feeling it. This is a way worse position, though, than what he was fighting in earlier. He's trying to kind of blast through it with a nuke. Ragnarok will try to deny that. Comes in with an Overseer, puts it in the super mode. I'm not quite sure if he saw that now. It's gonna just move back. Should probably move these spores back as well as the nuke is going to land. As Bunny moves forward at a very rapid pace, sieges up those Liberators and moves through the choke. This is still a scary move as Fungals are going to land here. Do we have some Blinding Clouds? More Fungals perhaps? No, not necessary?
I mean, Ragnarok is doing a great job at keeping some spellcasters back and keeping them split up. At this point, he's trying to come in with the Neurals, and Bunny is completely clumped up. Oh, I still got an EMP off, so only one Neural connecting here. It's still a decent fight for Ragnarok, but if you look at the bank of Bunny, that's the real story here. Bunny just wants to trade, and even if it's cost ineffective, it should be fine for him at this point.
Yeah, he still can make up like a 20k gap from what he made earlier. So still 55 against 35k right now, and the units lost. And yeah, as you mentioned, gas is almost running out here for Ragnarok. Gas isn't that high either, though, for Bunny. We have to be honest about that. Now we have that Ling run by actually on the top side, and that is still an important base for Bunny. It's about 1600 gas in those two refineries. If this base can't be taken again, that would actually be pretty painful. Ragnarok really should be working towards that top right side base. The moment he got control back in that area. I'm not quite sure why he's waiting for so long, but it definitely feels like an error to me.
Yeah, he should take it 100%. He has a Ling burrow there. I don't think he's even thinking about it. Like, at this point, I think the way he's seeing the map, he completely forgot that he can take that base himself, because he's just trying to deny it from Bunny. But since Bunny has his entire army concentrated on the bottom side of the map because he wants to mine this base and also has a fresh base below that, it's the perfect base to take. And now Ragnarok realizes that as well and starts taking the top right.
Yeah, double gas is going down immediately. There's still a lot of gas there. Really, it's going to be the limiting resource here in this game for both players, I believe. You see Bunny take the gases on his bottom side as well right away. This choke here on the bottom side, though, you can't really move through with Thors, can you?
You cannot. I think in general on this map you cannot attack into Mass Broodlord. You just kind of have to outmaneuver it. Or hope the Zerg attacks into you, which we saw earlier.
Ooh. A couple of Vikings as well being added on. You know what I would love to see here? If you can guess it, I'll give you 5 Harstem points.
I don't know, a Raven? I think
yeah,
you're a big fan of
Raven. I'd love to see a Raven. 5 Harstem points for you. If you get 350, you can get a free towel with my logo on it.
That's amazing. I'll keep track of it.
Yeah, please do. Liberator sieging up further forward. Once again, Bunny's trying to push through this choke. I actually think Ragnarok is kind of making way here, saying, yeah, come on in. Come on in. I got a couple of infestors waiting. One fungal does hit. Spores now moving in forward as well. Big parasitic bomb here connecting with literally every single air unit that ever existed. EMP is also hitting all the fungal boys, though. Thors are having a rough fight here. I think that Ragnarok might be winning this pretty convincingly.
Yeah,
Did he
that was
lose
a
anything?
dream fight. That was a dream fight for him. I don't have the battle reporting, so you need to tell me.
I'm not going to have to do that either. I'm a tour.
Okay, well, he didn't lose that much supply. I think he remaxed with 34 Zerglings, so it can't have been that many units. The only downside is that his infestors are without energy, but he's trying to get on top of Bunny's production at this point. He just wants to go for the jugular. He doesn't even care about the fresh base that is to the left of his army. He's just trying to wipe out Bunny's army. And I think at this point that's the perfect play because Bunny has so many resources. If he somehow would catch this army, I think it's the best chance he has at winning the game.
Yeah.
But
Difficult
he sees
position to
there's
fight though, no?
yeah, it's so difficult to push into it.
Yeah. I guess he's switching pace once more. Broodlords do take out that left side base. Would love to see some saturation on the 1 o'clock on the top side. A couple of Liberators sieging up forward. Lurker gets taken out. Queen's going down as well over here. Bunny has managed to muster up another force. Broodlords are still largely alive. As Infestors are around. Where's the Vipers? Do we have any? I don't think so. 2 Vipers are in production. There's no way Ragnarok can fight without those Vipers. And even with those Vipers, there's very little chance of Ragnarok having such a successful fight.
Yeah. And there is still another army waiting to be built. Bunny remaxed so fast. I mean, he still had a couple of units left over, but he doesn't have that big of a worker count. He remaxed almost instantly with 7 factories. I think he has 7 factories, 8 barracks, 3 starports. He can make so many units at once. So that, yeah, actually just going for it was a good call from Ragnarok to go back there. I probably would have suicided my entire army. I think the best chance Ragnarok has is hoping Bunny will do the exact same and run into this choke and once again get final Blinding Cloud comboed.
Same time, a big Ling run by heading towards the top side. I think Ragnarok's actually giving up these bases. Saying, hey, I can't keep this anymore. I don't think I can have another fight like this. Perhaps didn't feel like his Vipers were ready or something. But now this Ling run by will be capable of taking out this 3 o'clock. So the Lurker also hobbles over and will help out. Feels like it's a bit more of a chaotic game. Look at the movement here out of Bunny. He's very risky, so far out on creep. Not with that much support either. Liberators are in the back, tanks were still in the back. Perhaps a couple of abducts will help. That's 1. Number 2 not coming in, no. Oh, what is Bunny doing here? Completely caught on creep.
Yeah, I think he F2 towards it, trying to save his planetary, so he's losing a lot of units for free here. This is the final army of Ragnarok though. He's not mining enough to remax at all, so Ragnarok wants to take the fight right here, right now. And it will be the best chance he has at winning this game. He's not going forward any further. The Liberators plus the Siege tanks zoning out the Infestors there. I mean, Ragnarok needs a fight where he gets all the Neurals off and doesn't lose any of his units because he can't remake any of the Broodlords. Every Broodlord that dies at this point, it's not going to be remade.
Yeah, the Ghost Count is only at 4 though, and there's still 7 Infestors. Feels like EMPing everything or sniping is not going to be that viable. Like, couple of good Neurals and this could really turn it around. Liberators though, definitely helping out here. Vikings in the sky doing the same thing. Viper is still around, or where is it? It is somewhere in there. It doesn't have the energy for anything useful though. Fungals will need to bring him what he wants. A couple of Viking kills, a couple of Lib kills as well. Big EMP is going to connect. I think Bunny might have just done it over here. Thors are going ham. Lots of Lib still in the sky. A couple of Corruptors are helping out. Gas count for Bunny has diminished severely. Can't really reproduce all that much of anything, but yeah, there's just not enough here for Ragnarok.
Yeah, he actually made that super close. I mean, there's still money for 100 Marines. and
I used 3-3 already as well. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Felt like a mech game here in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Marine Helmet in the end is a super good mineral dump as well. It's much better than the Zergling mineral dump in these stages, but it's not like Ragnarok has minerals to work with anyways. He's trying to make Hydras right now, to make a couple of Lurkers. It's a little bit hard sometimes to track in these games how much money your opponent mines, so Ragnarok is hoping that Bunny is completely broke, but as we know, it's not quite the case.
Yeah, I've suggested in the past that there should be a button where you just reveal your resources and the entire map to your opponent as a power play, you know? If you know it's over, then you can show your opponent as well. It's something you can't undo either, you know? You share vision once, it's there forever. So you gotta be real sure that you're winning at that point. I think it would be
I
nice
actually
thing.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that, because typing it to your opponent feels a little too BM.
It's over. You can leave now. Couple of Fungals are going to hit. GG gets called. Buddy wins game number 1 here in his best of 3. Alright, Lambo. Banger of a game number 1. Any thoughts after this? Some tips for the lads, perhaps?
Some tips for the lads. Well, I think Bunny played the map very nicely. He realized the position that he was in, and he just played it very safe and solid. If I was Ragnarok, I would think twice about going for that second wave of an all-in. I think if he busting the planetary at first was fine, but then if he transitions a little bit faster, I think he has a better chance at closing out the game. I think if he wasn't behind already, his strategy could have worked. So I would like to see him maybe even try late game again, but this time from a better position.
Right. Yeah, it felt like some of the fights in the late game were quite good. What was the deal, by the way, with the melee +2 over the carapace? I always thought that carapace was much superior to melee, but he opted for the melee there.
It was probably a mistake. I don't. There is no reason to get melee over carapace, realistically against Terran. Unless you want to kill SVs fast with a run by or something, but that's not really the case. I think he just didn't have the money maybe when he clicked it.
Maybe he was preparing for a very niche scenario in which he gets loads of run bys in. Was
Yeah,
planning
maybe.
for the link drop.
Maybe he did the calculations and it's easier to bust the planetary with his attack instead of
That's true.
the
Yeah.
carapace.
1.5 less banelings.
Yeah. The baneling damage gets how much plus does it get for the building? Because they did extra damage to buildings, maybe +5 or something.
No, I think it's +5. In
Yeah,
my mind, it
it's
was
quite
+5.
significant.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
He told him how easy he was.
And then Ragnarok responded with yes. And during all of that, Ragnarok accidentally sent his drone across the map as well. So that one did manage to come back home. Ragnarok having a blast over here.
Bunny let it back though for free. It's fair play.
Yeah. It's allowed.
It's like when you give your opponent the ball back, you let that drone back.
Very nice of the lads. All right. Triple CC once again here out of Bunny. Are we expecting anything wild out of Ragnarok? What's in his range? Like build order wise? Is he a massive Ling Bane player? In my mind, he used to be a Mura player.
He used to be a Mura player, but there are no Mura players anymore, so that kind of maybe the RG on a good day can still play a Mura game, but he kind of does anything from all-ins to macro play, but he's very aggressive with the macro play. So that Ling Bane timing you saw, just there is something he likes to do. He also likes to just Hydra Bane all-in, which is very uncommon. He's the only player that still does that. Like 2-2 timings, basically all sorts of timings. He also has very delayed roach builds, but since he's starting up 3 queens, none of that is happening here, and it just looks like a macro opener.
Meanwhile, Bunny going for another Banshee. There's something special about these guys that just play triple CC Banshee every single game. I always had the same with Clem as well. You know, every single game in SCV Scout, every single game triple CC Banshee, never dying to roach attacks. It's so depressing to play against these guys when you're worse than them, because there's no tricks that you can really pull, is there?
Yeah, I can sing a song about it. Clem can play this build literally every single game. I can have the perfect defense, but he's not behind because the build just sets you up for a good macro game. You have the Banshees, even if they have 0 drone kills, it makes it impossible basically to run by, because if you have two Banshees is enough to one-shot Lings. Every single time they shoot, they kill a Ling. So doing Ling run bys is basically out. Like small Ling run bys is very difficult to do. Also Baning run bys they're good against. They're also just generally good at spotting. So even if this opener doesn't get any damage in, it's super safe and just sets you up super nicely for a longer game. So that's why you can see people like Clam play it every single game when they're confident. Even when they're not, I mean, he just in general plays it almost every game.
Lair and Baneling Nest once again coming down here for Ragnarok. They're spreading creep like a madman this series so far. I always felt like that was one of the parts where Ragnarok was a little bit weaker than the other top Zergs. He wouldn't spread the creep so fast. But
Yeah.
I feel like this series he's been quick at it. Last game as well, the mid game phase, it really felt like he was going completely ham. A couple extra gases coming down here as the Banshee Cloak does finish up, and both of them are moving across the map right now. Ling is going to spot it. That's very lucky here for Ragnarok. This time I do hope that he's going to be in position. Let's not forget last game actually started quite poor for Ragnarok with that Banshee damage.
That's true. This game is actually going for fast meta, so this is the best build that you can face. But still, it's not that bad for Banshee. Like it's not really a blind counter or anything. Otherwise, we would see it all the time, since we see Banshee all the time. But at the very least, you have an Overseer out by the time the Banshees come. And there's an off chance that you can catch the first 2 medivacs when your opponent doesn't realize what's going on. And then that actually sets you up for a really nice game.
You delay your Evo chambers for a very long time, right? Until your Mutas start with this?
Yeah, so you kind of need to deal some damage. Like if nothing happens, it's not a great opener. Unless you go straight to 88 workers, but then you also die against the tank push, so... Oh, you almost got a Banshee there. Could have started up slightly, or went there in general slightly faster, you could have gotten the Banshee. But good early game so far from Ragnarok. Not losing a lot, and he went straight to 74 drones, which is a very nice drone con. I think without the Evos, he can still defend a tank push with bending speed and Mutas out, so... Good play from him so far.
Yeah, it must be frustrating though, having a unit that has 12 anti-air range and is still not getting the Banshee. Can't feel too great. First 3 Mutas are on the way here. So we have the first 7 Banelings as well morphing in. 4th hatchery coming out. There's a lot of drones here. 74 feels high, no? Or is that normal?
It is normal for when you don't... If there's no damage dealt, then it's normal, especially if you delay your Evos this hard. Usually there should be Evos starting already.
Do you think Bunny is aware of what's kicking off here? He's playing this kind of slow, you know? Kind of conservative.
I mean, he's playing as if he knew. This is exactly how you want to play against Muta, because you want to keep your medivacs on a distance where you can just load up, boost away, and then you can save them with your reinforcements. So he's doing a good job of it so far. He now spent the boost. Well, if he goes too far, Ragnarok can actually catch the first 2 medivacs. But if I'm Ragnarok, I'm just trying to send the Mutas across, I think. Because... Oh, he's actually just hunting for them.
That's fairly unlucky. Do unload a little bit at least. Uh-oh. Ragnarok doesn't pay attention too quick. This seems like a weird fight to take for the Zerg player. He's gonna lose, well, just 1 Muta and kill 6-7 Marines. I guess it's fine. Felt kind of close there with the Mutas. 162 supply against 143. 1-1 upgrades against 0-0. Boost once again available. These Marines will be saved here. 4CC finishes up as well as the Helbets morph in. I don't quite think that Ragnarok can fight this. Perhaps Mio Maika could, but Ragnarok is no Mio Maika yet.
That's true. He's also starting upgrades, so... Mio Maika knows better than to start upgrades.
pure Mutaling of 0-0 is the future. I guess he has melee upgrades now.
Sometimes, yeah. He sometimes gets some delayed upgrades. This is a nice counterattack. I'm actually surprised Bunny is pushing like that while he's taking a 4th base. But the Mutas not being controlled by Ragnarok is huge here. If those jumped on the Marines together with the Zerg base, I think Bunny would have had some issues. Instead, he's just focusing on some depots. So now he has to defend at home. Being down 1 sets of upgrades, which is the standard if you're playing Muta, but still not nice.
Yeah, Queen's moving forward, transfusing at a very high pace here. None of them have died, now 2 fall. Banelings try to get the connections with the Marine splits. Seem to be good, as, well, Big Clump does get hit right now. Medivacs largely stay alive. There's still a lot of Marines here on the bottom side, though. Felt like Bunny forgot about them for a second, and Ragnarok did as well. Every Medivac is going to get targeted down. Banshees try to join the fight as well. There's still a lot of Marines in the far back. Mine setting up, and I'm not quite sure who's ahead now that the dust has settled. It feels like Bunny is in a very playable position here on a solid worker count. Ragnarok has not been capable of droning above the 70, 73, 74 where he was earlier. He's now trying to go up to 8 gases already, but doesn't really feel like he has the eco for that, no?
Yeah, I think Bunny's in a fantastic position here. The only thing that he's lacking is medivacs, because he once again stopped producing medivacs. So he's working with orange and red Marines, and it will stay that way for a while because he only has 2 medivacs, with 2 new ones just started now. But yeah, you need to keep in mind that Ragnarok still needs to start 2-2. So you can, like, he doesn't even have the bank to start it, but you can subtract those numbers as well in your mind, and you'll see how bad his position really is, because once Bunny starts up 3-3, he's gonna be ahead in upgrades, or he's gonna continue to be ahead 1 set of upgrades. Basically for another, what, 4 minutes, 5 minutes? I'm not even sure Ragnarok is ever gonna get hive this game, to be honest, so... I think Ragnarok's best shot is trying to end this in the mid game, and I think that's what he's trying to do. So Bunny pushing out is actually helping Ragnarok.
Yes, 2 medevacs, look at this. Half the Marines are still yellow here.
Yeah, I don't know about this push, to be honest. I think he should chill for a while. He obviously doesn't know the worker count of Ragnarok, so
Yeah, probably thinks like 89 or something insane. Thors are helping out. Good control. Oh, mine hits big as well. That's a scan. Sees a lot of banelings. He's like, yeah, maybe another day. Banshee once again joining up in this fight. Love to see some F2 action over here. As 3 mines are being produced at a time. Do we have any upgrades here for the Thors? We have vehicle plating level 1, but no vehicle weapons quite yet. 5th base is now on the way. Turrets still all in position. And the muta count is simply too low to really be meaningful as a harassing tool at this point. So it feels like Ragnarok needs to clean this army and then start doing something. But I don't quite see how he's going to clean this army off creep.
Yeah, Bunny, as long as Barney stays like this, it's going to be difficult for Ragnarok to clear this up. If somehow he can activate or kill all the Widow Mines, there's not going to be any splash against those banelings. I think Ragnarok actually has a pretty good shot at clearing up this army. But if Bunny joins up his entire army together, it's going to be very difficult. Like once there's more mines with this army.
Once again, Bunny going a little bit deep on creep. Ragnarok eager to pull the trigger here. Is coming in with a flank as well. Only a single mine was there in the back. This is not a well-synced attack though. Every single bank gets targeted. Well, there wasn't target fire. Just a move down. What was that?
That was a disaster is what that was. The mutas were fighting at the same time on the other side. I think he was simply not watching. He was simply not watching the banelings. He's doing a great job with the mutas, intercepting reinforcements because Bunny is mostly producing marauders and marauders don't shoot up. But yeah, I mean, Bunny is set up so nicely. He has 3 Widow Mines at that base, 3 turrets on the other side, 2 extra CCs on the way, against a Zerg that will be stuck on lair tech forever. I don't see a way in which Ragnarok gets up a hive and 3-3 here. I think Ragnarok's best shot is to max out and then win a fight somehow while being down in upgrades. Well, being even in upgrades now because Bunny didn't start 3-3 for quite a while.
Ragnarok with these mutas is like a platinum Terran with a Reaper. You know, it's like killing 2.5 drones, floating 1900 minerals. Killed like 3 marauders and lost 25 banelings off creep. It's not entirely what you want in life. Yeah, this is looking real rough. It's gonna lose a couple of the mutas. Medevac count is back up to 8. This army is starting to look a little bit more healthy. It says there are 10 mines in total, but I'm hardly seeing any with this army. Once again, banelings are getting targeted down at a very high pace, being mowed down. Marauders being sent up front so that the Terran doesn't have to micro anymore. Mines are going to... Oh my god, some big mine shots here. Although this does feel like an agreeable engagement here from the Zerg side, no?
I don't think so. I think this fight was pretty bad. But I mean, it looks fine. He needed something better than that, I feel like. But as I'm saying that, he's chasing back the units. I mean, if you look at the bank, it's just so difficult. He needs to win the game with this army. as I'm saying that, he's making an infestation fit. I really don't see a world where he's ever going to get 3-3. Because it costs so much to get a hive and then 3-3. He's going to try at least. Yeah, it looks like that fight actually was better than I thought. I think even trade in this game is super good for Bunny, but that was in the end better than I thought.
Yeah, resource loss is looking quite bad for Ragnarok, but supplies are looking okay-ish. Hive is actually on the way, so we are finally seeing that. Hydra then as well, so it's going to go into lurkers from here on out. I guess if you're playing against Lingbane Muta, it's not a very natural thought to go into Ghost, right? And you usually also don't have a tank count. So could this be a transition that surprises Bunny and catches him completely off guard? Or is that an unrealistic thought?
No, I like it a lot, actually. I completely forgot that that's a thing. But yeah, if he's stuck on Mass Marauder, at the very least he's going to buy time forever. And then he's going to get into a late game where both players have a bank. And then it doesn't matter if you're already behind. But surviving until then is going to be very, very rough for him. Like that Hydra is starting up right now feels very optimistic.
Yeah, we see Bunny moving on creep once again, taking out a lot of tumors, adding into the 74 tumors that have already been taken out in this game. Gonna add a couple of more on his list there. He does have a fairly balanced army at this point. It really feels like he could go the extra step right now. Do you want to add in Ghost though against a Lingbane Muta army like this? Or like, what do you want to complete this army even further? A couple of Thors?
A couple of Thors are good. I would actually add Ghosts. And I think he just needs to bring his Widow Mines for. He's 18 Widow Mines, but he always just has like 5 Widow Mines at the front. Not sure quite how that's possible, but if he has more Widow Mines at the front, I think the fights would go better for him. I mean, he has 8 Widow Mines at his planetaries, so I think that's not necessary since Ragnarok is not even thinking about counterattacking. But once again, there's no AoE here, so this bio just has to run. It's running home to a lot of Widow Mines though, so Ragnarok can't keep going.
Ooh.
The medics are gonna run out of energy again, I feel like. And Ragnarok might actually survive towards the lurkers.
Couple of bailing bombs being burrowed here. Oh, actually hit as well. I see them being burrowed a lot, but they almost never hit something. To be fair, this also wasn't a, a brilliant hit.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It's a good game for burrowed banelings because there's no creep. So the worse your creep is, the better it is going to be for burrowed banelings. He's trying to come in with a flank again. There's a lot of Widow Mines that are intercepting the banelings. And I think he doesn't have enough Zerglings here, to be honest, to trade cost effectively. But once again, he's going to clear up the army. He's also going to reveal the lurkers, which was completely unnecessary because they didn't fight here. So Bunny now knows about the lurkers and he can switch his army. He's once again clearing up quite nicely, though. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, and lurkers are moving forward at a very high pace here. Is there anything for the lurkers here? There's 2 ghosts, there's 1 tank. 1 lurker might get taken out by a mine. A snipe goes down. 3 lurkers have gone down in total already. Seismic spines have been researched. Adaptive talents is not quite here. This feels extremely all-in out of Ragnarok, though. This is it, right? Like, he has nothing else.
Yeah. If Bunny defends this, he has so many extra CCs. He's set up perfectly for the late game. He already has his 3-3, and Ragnarok is on a super low worker count. I don't see Bunny being broken here. He's gonna kill the lurkers 1 by 1, and Ragnarok did much better than I thought in just staying alive, but I mean, his only chance is to go back and once again try to hope to max out. All the Widow Mines are still left alive on the other side. Oh no.
That was a nice cleanup. Not brilliant.
Yeah, no, it was not bad.
It's fine. I can live with it.
Oh, the lurker! Oh my god, the one on the right side. Is he gonna shoot?
That could be a big one.
No way! Oh, the lurkers though.
Ooh.
Oh, if those were on hold fire, that would have been the play. Man, Bunny's supply is so low. He has a ton of infrastructure. He has so many CCs that he spent his money on. That's why he's not maxed out at this point. But it's the quality of his army that is the important part here. There's nothing to jump on these ghosts. These ghosts can just snipe forever. Like, there's not enough Zerglings to force the ghosts back. There's no fangles or anything like that. He's just morphing more lurkers because he has so much gas that he wants to spend, but he needs a catch. Like, he needs either a run by or something to distract, but he needs to jump this army somehow. Otherwise, he's just going to lose his units 1 by 1.
It's gonna go res with 5 muras. Looking forward to see how that's gonna go. Right now his pad is set to fly into 3 turrets, so not entirely hyped for that. Oh, lurkers are gonna get taken out, jumped upon here. Here comes the Muta flank, here comes the lurker flank, and a couple of links joining in as well, trying to catch this army, but that should not work off creep. As Ragnarok takes a pretty poor engagement here. Lurkers once again trying to move forward. We get a pickup here. So we'll force this army back, but there's so much cash in the bank for Bunny that I just don't see a way for him to die. I'm not quite sure why he isn't spending it right now. I feel like there's...
Penset Marauders. I don't understand what's going on here either. He definitely could be producing units, but he's deciding not to.
He wasn't quite sure what type of army he wanted to make. Like, what level of sophistication was necessary here, you know? Is this tuxedo weather or, you know, just some smart pants and a nice t-shirt?
He took 30 seconds to think about which unit is good against the Zerg units that are on the field, and then he realized the Ghost is good against literally every Zerg unit, so...
He started building them 4 at a time.
Fired up 4 Ghosts,
yeah. 8 more lurkers on the way. That's a desperation play if I've ever seen one. Mines are being burrowed. These ghosts feel fairly unsupported, but these lurkers also feel fairly unsupported, and in that case the ghosts definitely doing. A couple of snipes once again coming down here as Bunny supply is surprisingly equal to Ragnarok, but the quality of supply definitely isn't. As it feels like Bunny hasn't been touched in such a long time as well. Like no serious threat has been, you know, made out of Ragnarok.
Yeah, I mean, these are the games where then very often you say, what if you just did some run-bys you're supposed to run by as a Zerg, but Bunny was so far ahead from the start and always so well set up that it was actually the perfect play for Ragnarok not to run by. There were like 4 Widow Mines in front of planetaries everywhere, and Ragnarok was too broke to have a 40 supply of Link Bane on the other side trying to bust a planetary. And then even if he gets a planetary for like 40 supply, that's terrible in this game because when he has CCs to just replace them with. So Ragnarok is doing the only thing that he can do, which is trying to win army engagements, and he did a damn good job. But it's over as he takes the 2-0, as Bunny takes the 2-0.
Yeah. Bunny takes the 2-0 indeed into a rather long game. Both games kind of getting into the late game, although this last one didn't feel like a real late game. It's the early stages of the late game, as we call it. Yeah, that's going to be it for us today, Lambo. It's been a pleasure, as always.